Oftentimes we have ideas and it stays right here, right? So we gotta get it out of our head, whether you're writing it down, you're doing bullet points. Good afternoon, everyone. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Graves and Elisa, for inviting me here today. All right, transforming your idea into a product. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So growing up, I was really good in math and science, went off to college, didn't know what I wanted to major in, and my counselor said, since you're good in math and science, what about engineering? I had no idea what that was, but I signed up for aeronautical engineer. I wanted to become the first African-American astronaut. Well, I never took a plane ride until I was 18, and I said, okay, I cannot be an astronaut. The first African-American astronaut was Dr. Mae Jameson. And so I worked at aerospace company Lockheed Martin for a number of years until I got laid off. And when I got laid off, I decided that I wanted to do something different. So I decided that I was going to start a nonprofit organization where I helped raise money for low-income single moms in college. I awarded over $3 million and paid child care scholarships for moms in college. I did that, thank you, and I did that for a number of years until the economy crashed. And while I was working with the moms, I would see them come in struggling with their diaper bag and their book bag. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm taking the train in the city, I got my lunch bag, I got my shoes in a bag, I'm struggling with 2 or 3 bags. And I was like, I just wanted one bag where I could separate and organize everything in the bag. So I went looking for that bag. And I couldn't find the bag, this whole idea that I had. I could not find that bag. And so I said, how do I do this? Have you ever come up with an idea and you just like, how do I do that? You just got stuck? And so I was thinking about it, and I said, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do this because there's so many bags on the market. And I said, you know what, if I'm gonna start a handbag business, I need to differentiate my idea from everything else on the market because again, it's oversaturated. So I said, well, what do I wanna do in my bag? I wanna be able to separate my shoes from my purse essentials. I didn't want to put a banana in my bag and then have my laptop in there, or you know how we got crackers in the bottom of the bag and we dig in and we got crackers all under our nails, right? I wanted to be able to separate and organize things that I put in the bag. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to put a shelf in the middle of my bag. And it said, a shelf? I was like, I'm talking to myself now. I want a shelf in the middle of my bag because I want to be able to separate my shoes from my purse essentials. And I want to be able to put my lunch in the bottom of the bag in a self-contained lunch bag. And I wanted that to be different from and separate from my laptop bag. So I'm thinking, how do I do that? So the first thing I did in coming up with this idea, to bring my idea to life, I drew it down. So oftentimes we have ideas and it stays right here, right? So we gotta get it out of our head, whether you're writing it down, you're doing bullet points. So I did the best that I could to draw out my idea. So I put this little shelf in my bag. I wanted it to look like a fashion bag. I wanted it to look like a regular tote bag. So I said, but I want this shelf in the middle of my bag. So you can see in the lower left-hand corner, there's a little shelf there. And then I wanted a bag inside my bag. And I said, you know what? Even though I drew it out and I had this idea, fear starts setting in. Because I'm like, I don't have a background in fashion. I don't know how to sew. I don't have the money. I don't really think I can do this. And oftentimes we talk ourselves out of doing things because we talk about all of the negative things of what you can't do and what you don't have. And so for a long time, almost a year, I said, I don't have any experience in this. I'm not going to do this. So it took me a year to really say, you know what? I need to do this. So at some point in your thought process, you have to say yay or nay. You have to make a decision. We start thinking, and it overwhelms us because we think about all of the things, what you have to do, what you think you have to do, all of the steps. And we're already at the end and haven't done one thing. We're at the end and we become so overwhelmed that we say, no, I'm not going to do this. So I had to make a decision. My decision came when I said, I was laying in the bed one day and I said, you know what? I don't want to wake up one day and say, I wish I shoulda, coulda. I don't want to have this idea and look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and say, man, I should have did that 10 years ago. I don't want to wake up one day and see that same idea that I had 5 years ago on the shelf, because oftentimes God gives us the same idea, right? And the difference is between the person that executes and the person that doesn't, is the execution. So you have to make a decision and you have to believe in what you're doing and your decision. So that brings me to the point, we have to do things being afraid. And when we do things being afraid, it's about understanding what fear is. Once we understand what fear is, it's a little bit easier to make that walk. Fear is that thing that keeps us from harm's way. That's what fear really is. Fear is the things that don't touch that hot stove because you're going to get burned. Fear is the things that don't walk out into a moving car because you're going to get hit. So fear protects us. So anytime you're doing something new or different, fear kicks in because it thinks it's protecting us from failure, from being hurt, from not knowing what you're doing. So when we understand what the fear is and what it's trying to do, then it's a little easier. So I said, you know what, fear? I got this. I know you're trying to do your job, but I got this. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward, and I'm going to do it afraid. So I'm thinking, how am I going to bring this idea from my head? I drew it out. That was the first step. So I drew it out. Okay, now what? What do? I need a sample, a prototype, or something like that. Oftentimes we'll run out and we'll get somebody to make it. But do you remember when you were young and you had to do the science project at school? Your mom and dad wouldn't go out and spend a lot of money. You find stuff around the house to make your little science project. You go to the dollar store, you go, maybe to the thrift store or the art store or Home Depot and buy your little stuff to make your science project. Well, I said, you know what? I'm going to make my own prototype. I don't know how to sew, but I'm going to make my own prototype. So what I did is I said, I'm going to go to Target and I'm going to buy a bag of the same shape and size that I had envisioned my idea, because I wanted it to look like a regular bag, a regular fashion bag. So I said, I'm going to do this. I went to Target and I started cutting the bag up. So you can see here, I cut it on the side. I said, you know what? If I cut it on the side, maybe I could put my shoes in here. And then I said, okay, I can do that. I said, but if I cut it in the back, I can cut it in the back here. I can put my shoes at the bottom here. and then maybe I can cut it and I could put like a little lunch bag in there. So I had fabric from my kids' room, where I went in the kids' room and pulled out some little fabric here. And I told you I don't know how to sew, so I started stapling things together. I got cardboard in here, I got tape and glue, and this is my little lunchbox. This is my lunchbox because I wanted to be able to carry my lunch in the same bag. I didn't want to have an extra little bag to carry, because we always struggling with 2 or 3 bags. I am the bag lady. Y'all don't need to know my name. You can call me the bag lady or you can call me Minky Blue. But this is where my lunch bag went. It went in the bottom of the bag. So I said, okay, when I'm not carrying my lunch, I could put my shoes down here. I could put a change of clothes down here. But where's my shelf going? So my shelf, on the top part of the bag, I have these little Velcro strips here. So I got a piece of cardboard and I Velcroed it right in the middle of the bag. So now I have my separator. My purse essentials went on the top. My shoes, my lunch went on the bottom. I said, I think I got something here, because nobody else has a shelf in their bag. So that's my differentiator. So even though you don't know how to make your prototype, there's so many different ways today that you can make your prototype for little or nothing. Number 1, build it yourself, right? Do it yourself. There are programs, you can do CAD drawings, you could do 3D printing that does not cost a lot of money. So I decided, okay, I went and I did my prototype. I found somebody to actually make a sample for me, and I ordered some bags. When I made that decision, initially I wanted to have them made in the US, but it was so expensive. It would have cost me to make my bag between $98 and $108 for the labor, and then I would have to buy the materials and the hardware. I didn't have that money, and if I did, the bags would have cost about $500 in order to make the money. So I made the decision that I was going to go overseas, and I ordered 1,000 bags. Way too many bags for somebody that's just starting off. I didn't even know 1,000 people. As a matter of fact, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just ready to start this business, ordered 1,000 bags, as I said, everybody's gonna buy the bag. Well, I didn't know anything about marketing or anything. 30% of those bags in those boxes were defective. I was devastated because I spent all of that money on those bags and could not sell them. So that's another decision that I had to make. Stop this whole thing or keep going. It took me a minute, almost another year before I said keep going, because I had lost so much money. So I said, you know, I need to figure this thing out. I have to understand the industry. I need to learn. I need to step back and learn what I'm doing here. I can't just jump into things, spend money just because. We really need to understand the industry, take time out to learn what it is that you're doing. So what I said, if I'm gonna stay in this business, I'm gonna fly to China and I'm gonna meet some of the business owners of the factories, and that's what I did. I mean, I'm a little extra, but I got on that plane and I flew over there. I attended trade shows and I found my manufacturer because I needed to understand the process and learn the industry. Most sustainable product-based businesses are built around a problem and a solution. Understanding what the problem is. For my bag, I was trying to eliminate the number of things that I carried every day, the number of bags, and I wanted things to be organized. The other thing is you want to know what are the pain points. When you come up with an idea, what are the pain points people are experiencing? If you have a product that is a solution. Now these here, they solve a problem, right? But do you have a market for it? Who's going to buy it? You going to put slippers on and clean your floors while you walking around in your slippers? It solves a problem, but you need to understand, do you have a market for it? Who's going to buy a onesie with the baby and let the baby crawl around on the floor and clean it? You will, okay, you got a market of one over here. So even though we come up with ideas that solve problems, we have to understand our target market. We have to know if people want it, if they're going to buy it. Right? So we have Joy Mangano, who went on QVC with the Miracle Mop in the early 90s, made millions. You know how we did old days, well, even today, put the mop in the bucket, hands in there, you gotta wring it out, dirty water. Joy Mangano didn't invent the wringing mop. She improved on it. The black man, Thomas Stewart, invented the wringing mop. So oftentimes you have a product and you're improving on it. I didn't invent the handbag, I improved on it. I love this idea because Mr. Farid created the edible fruit basket, right? You normally have your whole fruit, but this was such a great idea. So oftentimes we come up with ideas and we can improve on something that's already on the market. It doesn't have to be difficult. Lonnie Johnson invented the Super Soaker, made millions of dollars. I don't know, the little Super Soaker, little gun, pistol water, just wouldn't go, the water wouldn't go that far, right? The Super Soaker. Then you have ideas that could be a novelty, right? Some are short-lived and some can last for years. They're trendy, could be a fad. Who remember the Chia Pet? What's the jingle for the Chia Pet? It's not even really about the Chia Pet, it's about the marketing. You all remember that, and that came out in the 70s. And it's still making money. You got the Pet Rock here. And if you think about it, you as the inventor have to come up with the problem. The Pet Rock, what's the problem there? You don't have to feed it. You don't have to take it out to go to the bathroom. And that's what he was marketing. That's what he was marketing. He created this problem and the solution. So sometimes you think the silliest and, ideas will not work, but that is based on the marketing. Snuggies. And that goes both ways because that's a problem that's a product that's a problem and a solution. So that can go really, really both ways. And then we just talked about finances, so how are we going to pay for all of this? Right? So you create a budget. When I started off, I had a little bit of savings, but then I started a crowdfunding campaign. So there are a number of ways that you can raise your money for your product. Protecting your intellectual property, I heard that earlier, All right, so you don't want to share it because you don't want anybody else to steal your idea. That's a big thing for that, right? So IP, I have a patent on my bag. So with that folding shelf, I have 2 utility patents. You want to make sure you get a trademark as well. This is my bag. I went from that Target bag that I showed you over a number of years. This is one of my bags that I have here today. This is the minky blue with your shoes, your lunch bag. The other thing is you want to seek advice, mentorship. You cannot do this alone. Right? Join groups and communities. So I have a program called Innovate, Build, and Launch. And these are 3 products that I help women launch their products. One of the inventors are here today, and I want to be able to show you their inventions. We have Kenya, the first one, she invented the panty buddy. The panty buddy is when you go to a public restroom and you don't want your pants or anything to fall to the floor. Well, she created this wallet thing that holds up your pants so they won't fall to the floor. And then Tania created the cleansing orb for crystals. And Tania's here today, and we have all of these in the back for you to see. And then Latricia, she has 3 girls. And you know when you were younger, and maybe you still do it today, and you wash your hair, you put your head over the sink, your neck is all messed up, you take your kids. Well, she created a shampoo pillow that's ergonomical. So she puts it on the counter, kitchen counter, put her kids on the counter, lay the head back, and they wash their heads that way. I want you to remember that success is never a straight arrow. Success is about the twists, the turns, the challenges, the failures. It's how you navigate all of those things. It's how you navigate the challenges and learning from your failures. So remember, success is never a straight arrow. But the rewards are great through all of the challenges, all of the failures. I've had an opportunity to showcase my bags on the Today Show and QVC and Macy's here, Macy's with the bags. So all of the hard work, all of those things, all of the failures, the defective bags, the things that I've gone through to get where I am today has definitely been well worth the journey. So we put together a success kit for you that include tips on there for fundraising, manufacturing, as well as protecting your IP. So I thank you so much for today, and I think we're open for questions. Thank you. Anybody have ideas out there? All right.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Elisa Williams. I'm interested in doing it. I make jewelry, I make earrings, but I was wondering, I make handmade earrings. But the thing is how I'm going to sustain myself as far as making a product. I just feel like I can't make enough product to sustain myself as a business. You know?
Are you working now?
Yes, I work at the
Right.
DMV.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, you keep your day job. You keep your day job, and that'll actually help you pay for the things that you need to do your side job. But you keep it until you're in a position that you start making money that you could maintain it and sustain yourself. But definitely, I would not say quit your job and then start. You're just starting something new.
I just wanted to know how many the products. Like, I can only make 5 or 6 earrings at a time. You know.
So you might want to maybe some student interns to help you. Okay. That's always, you know, if they want to learn how to make jewelry. So definitely some student interns.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. It was wonderful meeting you again.
You too.
My name is Rochelle Cooper Isaac. I'm the founder of Vision Embroidery and Graphic Designs. And what we do is personal promotional products. So mugs, t-shirts, things like that, novelty items. And you touched on that briefly and you just kind of zoomed by it. So how in your inventions as you were going through did you decide to just focus on one thing? Because in my business, I like to, oh, this is nice or this is nice because they're all novelty things. How did you kind of like, okay, this is it?
So the items that you are selling, I believe, are what we call white label products, which means they are products that already exist on the market. So your mugs, and you take your logo and put it on there.
Correct.
So that's white label, where you're really, you have your sweatshirts, your t-shirts, an umbrella, and you can take your
Right.
logo and put it on there.
Right.
So an invention is bringing something new to the market that
Okay.
does not exist on the market.
Correct.
So that's the innovation. So when you have an invention, it's something that doesn't even exist, and that's how you're able to get a patent on it. But as I mentioned, a lot of inventions are an improvement on what's already there. So if you can find that piece that will improve something that's already on the market, then that would be an invention.
Actually, I did last night. I thought of something. I was like, I'm not telling nobody nothing until I do a little bit more research. And yeah.
Yes, yes.
In the, what do you say, white noise?
What you're doing is called white labeling.
Yeah, white
Basically,
label.
it's taking your logo and putting it
Yeah.
on an existing
Well, I
product.
thought about something for other people to create in this field. So yeah, not telling you all nothing until I invent it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it. Thank you. Thank you all.